The oldest and strongest human emotion is fear, and the oldest and strongest type of fear is trepidation of the unknown. When we were children, our parents told us that monsters didn't exist, but we were sure that something was lurking under the bed or in the closet. Fear sees, even if our eyes are closed. Welcome to the realm of the Arcane. My name is Lon Strickler. Join me as I examine unexplained creatures, strange manifestations, and remarkable realities. Imagine this next hour as a voyage of discovery to strange lands, seeking not for new territory, but for new knowledge of the supernatural. Come on board as we begin this adventure together. Live on Beyond Explanation. I'm your host, Lon Strickler, coming to you within a cannon shot of the hallowed fields of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Thanks for joining you. So, as many of you know, we lost a dear and close friend this week. Butch Witkowski passed away yesterday morning. So, I'm going to tell you a bit about Butch. Butch was an independent researcher since 1989. When, along with 4 other people, witnessed a UFO of substantial size quietly hover above the mountain in Tucson, Arizona. Now, that was the day that he began his investigations into the UFO phenomenon. He soon became a member of MUFON and a field investigator. After moving back to Pennsylvania, he concentrated on UFO research and cases related to alien abduction, mutilations, and unexplained encounters. Now, Butch had been a member of the Carnarvon Township, Pennsylvania Police Department in the 1970s. He used his investigative abilities as a police officer for his field work, later becoming the founder of UFO Research Center of Pennsylvania. I met Butch for the first time in 2013 after expressing my continued interest in the Todd C's death case. We combined our research and years of experience making great strides to deeply examine the incident. And I'm proud to say that Butch's determination for finding the truth led to several revelations about the case. Now, not long after we started working together, he became interested in cryptids, especially the dogman upright canine phenomenon in our native state of Pennsylvania. Since 2015, Butch's efforts culminated in exposing over 30 modern sightings and encounters throughout the state. Now, after the formation of Phantoms and Monsters 14 Research, Butch became one of our lead investigators on the team, always striving for the facts through unwavering research. Butch was a regular guest on internet and radio talk shows, beginning with his 2010 appearance on Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. He had a monthly stint at Spaced Out Radio, Strange Days with Butch Witkowski, hosted by our mutual friend, Dave Scott. Now, Butch and I were close friends and colleagues. He was always there to take my telephone call and to talk. And I'm going to truly miss his dedication, his wit, his humor. And one day, I'm sure we'll meet again in another realm. So, Arcane Radio and Beyond Explanation channels made possible by your liking, subscribing, and sharing our programming. Super chat donations are essential for us to continue offering you our new, unique content. Your consideration is very much appreciated and needed. So tonight, I had Bucks County Paranormal Investigations, followed by follows professional jazz pianist, composer, and paranormal investigator Eric Mintel and his team as they explored the rich history and the mysteries of our nation's most haunted hotspots. Now, each exciting episode is filled with undiscovered clues, which the team reveals to the public and then unravel to put the paranormal puzzle pieces together. Each week, the team investigates claims of long-standing mysteries like ghosts, full-body apparitions, UFO encounters, Bigfoot evidence, Dogman, and many more monsters that have baffled and piqued the public's interest. The team's main goal is to search out and explain their findings with shocking results in some cases. BCPI captures the high strangeness that accompanies each investigation, whether it's a disembodied voice, to a translucent orb, a full body apparition, evidence of Bigfoot, and footage of UFOs. BCPI investigates it all. Now, tonight, Eric is here along with some of his team. So, folks, thanks for joining me this evening.
Hey, Lon, thanks for having us here. This is great. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Our condolences about Butch, too, man. We're really sorry to that.
Yeah, we appreciate that. It's tough when you lose a valued member of the team. So, yeah, we're very appreciative of that. So, Eric, you've been with me before. Why don't you introduce some of your folks that are joining us tonight?
You got it. Well, we've got with us from Wisconsin, our team member in our Wisconsin branch, researcher Ellen Collins. And we've got my good buddy, Dominic Sattele. We've known each other since high school, and he's been on my team for the last, 4 years now. So,
yep.
So, first of all, let's talk about one of your bigger investigations, and the one I'm more interested in, to be honest with you, is the Beast of Bray Road, the upright canine sightings out in south central Wisconsin. I'm going to hand it over to you. Tell us what you found, some of the anecdotes that come along with it. And,
it was
go ahead.
Absolutely amazing investigation. I will start, and I know Ellen and Dominic are going to chime in here too. I'll start off by saying Ellen is the reason why this video and this investigation came about. She made it happen, not only financially, but just made it happen. She had said, we should do a video on the Beast of Bray Road because she's been researching that for years. Mm-hmm. And I had always heard about this creature, but I never really knew about, the inner workings of what this thing is. And so Ellen did some research and we talked about it. And then we came up with this investigation. About maybe a few months prior to us going there, I had seen a program on the Beast of Bray Road. It was on the Travel Channel, and Lee Hampel was being interviewed. And something told me to reach out to Lee because he looked like and now knowing Lee, he's a great guy.
Oh, yeah.
It was something just to reach out to him and say, this is something I'm interested in. Would you be interested in us coming out to do an investigation? Well, after talking with him and him showing me pictures that night of some of the stuff that he's had on the property, it just blew my mind right there. So fast forward, a few months later, here we are, and we're out in Wisconsin, and it was absolutely just mind blowing. We didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. And to be honest with you, I mean, I went out there thinking that we would not encounter anything other than the story. Well, that totally was not the case because we actually encountered this creature, and I'll get into that in a minute. But Ellen, I don't know if you wanted to say anything, but I just want to kind of set it up here. And then, so we went out to Lee's property. We talked to Lee prior to this, but we went out. It was October 2nd through the 4th, and it just so happens on October 2nd they had the very first annual Beast of Bray Road convention that Donna Fink had put on, and they were putting it on at Lee's farm. Amazing, and got a chance to talk to a lot of people that had their encounters, and so that's part of the story there. I don't want to give away too much right now. I know with Dominic is a spirit medium, and I know it's out of your wheelhouse, right, Dom?
It was absolutely. I mean, I've been on investigations before for Bigfoot and other things, but I mean, this was something, we're in the middle of it, and just absolutely overwhelmed me. And it overwhelmed Eric and Ellen and Scott, our drone operator. I mean, and the cameraman. I mean, it just absolutely just blew us away.
I think we're gonna have Scott on maybe in a little bit. I don't know if he got in here or not, but
I don't know. I think he's trying. Yeah.
But and then Ellen was really like I said, was really the impetus for us getting this together, because she's been doing a lot of research on the Beast of Bray Road, and it turns out that this has been going on since the 30s. People have been seeing this creature, but there was a long period of time that people didn't talk about it, and the reason why they didn't want to talk about it because they didn't want to get ridiculed. Yeah. And this is why a lot of reports you don't hear in the 50s, 60s but then it had another resurgence in the 90s, thanks to Linda Godfrey with her books, and then now people are more, you know how it is. It's like even 10 years ago, people wouldn't even talk about it, but now with the government disclosure of the UFO phenomena and everything, a lot more people are more open-minded to ghosts, Bigfoot, everything. And to be honest with you, encountering what we encountered out there changed my whole perspective on the cryptid, what's out there, because there is definitely, and we all saw it and heard it, there's something out there on that property. And so I guess the Saturday the 2nd, we got into town and we basically talked to a lot of people. And also, if my memory gets off track here, get me back on track, guys. And we went to Donna's convention. We didn't talk to a lot of people there, but we talked to them after, or actually, I think before the convention started. Right on Bray Road, as a matter of fact.
Right.
Which was, we heard later that you can't even park your car on Bray Road. The police come right away and get you out of there. Well, we were there for like an hour, 2 hours. The sheriff came up. He just wanted to know what we were doing. We said, "Oh, we're just doing some documentary. We're doing some interviews." He was like, oh, "Okay, cool. Have a good day." Very cool.
I mean, we were flying. Scott had his drone in the air, and we're standing on the side of the road when he came up, the officer, and it was just. I mean, he was just like, "Okay, no big deal."
For the first thing that we saw when Scott was doing his drone work was this. This was crazy. So there are huge cutouts. The corn happened to be up. It still happened to be up at that point.
Yeah.
And when Scott took the drone up, and Lon, this is unbelievable. There were thick cutouts in the corn going from Bray Road over to Lee's property, across the road, and then going down into the quarry.
Yeah, towards the quarry. It was going down to where the creek bed was, where there was like a little stream.
So this was not a vehicle, nothing like that was it, but these were wide swaths of the corn being knocked down. So something's going through there that's large.
On a regular basis too.
That
was quite the path. Yeah.
And the thing with the path is that it was wide, but there were corn stalks in the middle still growing. Right. So if it was a vehicle, the corn stalks all would have been knocked down, and they weren't.
Yeah, that was odd. Yeah.
I know.
Hasn't the beast been seen over at the quarry too?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one of
just around the corner.
Yeah.
So that was Saturday. We were doing some drone work and got all that evidence there, which was just already we're like, wow, what's going on here already? Then we go over and we talked to Lee. Actually, we talked to Lee's brother, Fred Hampel.
Yep.
Great guy, phenomenal guy. Was an IBM guy, computer guy. Had no interest in cryptids, nothing of the paranormal. Was a complete skeptic. But then after what Lee was encountering and what he encountered himself on the property, he's a total believer now. Yeah. I mean, they're getting 7-pad, 5-pad, 7-toed prints on the property.
Yeah. Which
nothing is there that has 7-pad or 7-toed creature in 5 pads.
And it's bipedal. It's bipedal. There's just one after the other. It's not 4 legs. It's 2 legs.
The pictures that Lee showed us, the video, I mean, weird lights on the property at night. He has tracks in the snow going from 1 track straight ahead, morphing into 2.
Yeah.
2 tracks just like this. So something walking ahead of itself, and then it just morphs into 2. So that in itself was mind-blowing. But we talked to Fred, and Lee has a lot of trail cams down there. So Lee has got thousands and thousands of pictures of this creature. Not only the creature, but weird lights, a strange mist.
Portal.
Very strange mist. And this is something, and I'm sure you know about this, Lon. When you have a Bigfoot encounter, you've also got this mist that happens for some odd reason. Mm-hmm. Did you get a lot of reports like that too?
Yeah, they seem to be I personally believe that most cryptids, and that includes Bigfoot and, winged humanoids and even upright canines, have got supernatural aspects to them, that they may actually be able to manifest into something else or, vanish or somehow. I do believe that. Where they go, do they go into other dimensions, or do they are able to cloak themselves somehow? I don't know what it is. Yeah. But I believe from some of the things I have heard around Bray Road and around that part of Wisconsin, that that's what's going on.
That's what I had said that to Lee. We said to Lee, I said, the other thing about his property is, could this be a portal? Could this be some kind of like portal area where things are happening on the property? And he absolutely believes that's the case, because he's even got pictures that he showed us, but we weren't really allowed to get them on the video,
right,
of portals. He's got pictures of something there in the doorway of this particular photo. And
it was like an orb, and inside that orb was a doorway. And you could actually see something there, figure, some kind of figure.
Yeah, it looked like a creature. So that was all of this stuff that, and he's been doing all kinds of scientific experiments on the property too.
Yep. Being that he's a teacher, that's like his background. Yeah. He's trying to, disprove what's going on, but he's getting so much proof. He's like, how can I disprove what I'm proving?
Exactly. I know. And
him and Fred.
Oh yeah. Totally.
They're doing it.
So so Saturday was a good day. Saturday we had a really good day, and talked to a lot of people. We went to
well, Eric, don't forget, when we were there Saturday, we were able to drive down
right
into the back, and we had Scott put up his drone.
Oh, that's right. So that's right. Scott had the drone, and the thing that Lee's been having a lot of problems on the property is he's getting a lot of electronic disturbances on the property. So Scott has, Scott's drones, this is no just ordinary drone operator. Yep. He is like cutting edge. It's Phantom Flight's FPV.
Yeah.
And, that's his company. He's just like zipping around. He wears virtual reality glasses in order to see where he's going. Well, this particular time, he's looking for us, and we disappeared from the screen in the field.
Yep.
He couldn't find us.
Yeah.
So this is another anomaly that happened where we're talking about that portal. What's going on there? There's some kind of a veil there there's something there, and he basically couldn't find us, and then he righted himself, and he was able to find us, but it was something that like that never happened to him. Yeah. And it was just a very, very strange thing. Yeah. That was the first thing. That was like when we
was the very first thing. Yeah.
First thing when we went down there. Lee showed us the property. Lee showed us the area that he's been getting a lot of activity on. So we went down there and talked about it. And all of this is in our video. It's called The Beast of Bray Road, Alive and Well. I really encourage people to go check that out, because there is just a lot on there. But then, so we get down there, and Lee's talking to us about that. We're talking about portals. And I think right after that, we went to the restaurant, I think, that night.
Yeah, I think so.
And so we went to a restaurant, and earlier in the day, I think right after we talked to Lee, we had steak bones the night before. And I had an idea, and I had said to Lee, is it okay if we bait the area?
Yeah.
Could we bait the area with steak bones? So he said, yeah, let's try it. Let's try that. So we put steak bones in that area that he's been getting a lot of the activity.
Yep.
And I think Dominic and I found
we found 2 footprints. When we were baiting the area, we found the footprints.
Yeah.
So we left it there, and then as we're driving back, we had these 4-wheelers going back to Lee's property. Ellen's in her truck behind us, and we're just and one thought's going through my head. I'm like, was baiting that area with steak bones a good or bad idea? And
it was not good. Yeah. That's one of the footprints.
There's one of the footprints right there.
Yeah.
Amazing. And everyone that's looked at this can't figure it out because it's just something that's just not natural.
How wide was that?
Oh man, it was
What did he say? It was like 3x4, 3x5.
5, something like that. 5,
It
5.5.
was bigger than the handprint, like your hand.
Yeah.
You know, like if you put your hand down.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that dirt was pretty solid, so that actually put some weight into it. So it was
Yeah.
pretty
That's a
cool.
heavy creature. Yeah.
The other thing is Lee showed us some unbelievable pictures to hair samples. The hair samples that he caught or that he has, they're translucent under the microscope. There's no medulla in the hair.
Yep.
That's similar to Bigfoot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought to myself, and I'm thinking to myself, well, could this be some kind of a cloaking device? Could this be how they can cloak themselves? You know, like when you're in the woods and you see a deer, but then that deer is so blended in that you almost hardly see it.
Mhm.
I'm thinking it's some similar to that, where it could be right there in front of you, but you just can't see it.
Mhm.
You know?
Oh, sure.
So that was one of the things there. We went to the restaurant and we actually were approached by a couple. I mean, we didn't even need to talk to anybody. They were coming to us.
Yeah, we were walking around with our shirts on and all our investigative things, and people were just coming up to us
on the airplane in the airport. And then when we got there, it was wild. But we got to the restaurant and people were just telling us their story.
Yep.
And it was amazing. And this couple came up to me and I said, hey, is it okay if I get you guys on video? So I took a little cell phone video of her testimony, and they were going down Bray Road and they saw this huge, like, black thing just going along with their car, like just running along with the car. And it was huge. And so they didn't know what it was. They couldn't figure it out. But they said, wow, do you think we just saw the beast of Bray Road?
Yeah.
So that's how popular this thing is in Elkhorn, Wisconsin. We actually went down to this guy's house on Bray Road that has a beautiful sculpture of what the beast of Bray Road should be out of a tree.
It's out of wood. It's out of an old tree.
It was out of an old tree and a beautiful carving. And so nobody really had talked to this guy. And Dominic and I went up to the house and I knocked on the door and I'm waiting to hear, you know. But he was totally cool. He was like, I said, we just wanted to take some video of your awesome structure. And he thought it was cool. So and he was a nice guy. He turned out to be a really nice guy. And he let us take some video. But so I'm kind of leading up to the investigation because like the night, this was the night of October 3rd.
Yeah.
And we went to Lee's barn. So we went to Lee's barn again, and he showed us more pictures of a lot of really crazy things too. The other thing, Lon, that this is where the electronic anomaly thing happens here. So he has trail cam pictures that suddenly the years are altered. Like all of a sudden he's got a picture from 2087.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. And it was like,
oh yeah.
And then they weren't JPEGs anymore. They were KPEGs and
ZPEGs, and the file extension name totally changed within the folder of where it was storing everything.
He has no idea how that.
You know, that's interesting because we get the same phenomena sometimes when we're somebody's videotaping UFOs activity.
Yep.
Where it gets that same type when people go back into their files that they got stored on there and stuff's been all screwed up.
Yeah.
And I've seen JPEGs get moved around and get, so that's interesting.
Just to be out, but out in the field though. It's like what's doing it out there? There's nobody out there.
Yeah.
That's the mystery here.
Yeah, and well, the whole thing with Fred and even Lee was saying that at night out there, everything changes, and they were trying to prepare us for it, and I don't think we were.
No way to prepare us for what we saw.
There's no way. Well, this time when we go back, we'll be more prepared.
We're going to be prepared.
Yeah, I mean, but it was weird. I mean, that night it was. Storm was coming in. It was all overcast. It was cloudy. You could see lightning off in the distance.
Yeah, we thought it was going to rain. We thought it was going to rain and
we were going to get washed out.
Yeah.
So,
but it totally, when we got out to the field, I said to Lee, I said, listen, thank you so much for showing us your photos.
Yep.
It blew our mind. I mean, we couldn't believe it. And I said to him, we're going to do an investigation in the field. The back. Is that okay with you? He's like, absolutely. So we went back there and we took the 4-wheelers back there. Dominic was afraid that we would, whatever was back there, if there was anything back there, we'd scare it off with the 4-wheeler. Yep. Well, that theory went out the door.
Oh, yeah.
Because we get out to the field, Scott set up the GoPro. Ellen, you had the truck. You were in the truck. We parked the truck, and then we're gonna talk about that one too.
Yeah.
And then we get out there. The first thing that happened though, Lon, Scott's GoPro could not get it to link up.
Yeah, he couldn't get it.
Again, we're having this electronic thing happen.
Yeah.
We couldn't get anything to record there in that particular area, which had no problem before.
Yeah.
No problem whatsoever before. So that was the first thing. And then we got together as the team. And usually I like to break up the team and go into different areas to cover more area. This night, I said, you know what? We better just stick together just in case. So, and man, I'm so glad I did, because I gave Ellen our flashlight, the radio. Literally, that's all we had: flashlights and radios.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, Lee did offer a flare gun if we wanted it.
Yeah.
And we should have taken it.
We didn't take it. We said, "No, we'll be okay. It's fine. Give me the shotgun," but he didn't even offer that. So,
yeah.
but that could, like we were even saying, that may not have even done anything to it as well.
No.
Yeah.
Because I go back to Stan Gordon's account of some of the Bigfoots. The woman shot at the Bigfoot and it disappeared.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know. I mean, it could be something like that, but if it's a flesh and blood creature, but so that night we're out there, and so we get there. Dominic, I'll let you take the first piece of this because you're the one that spotted it.
Yeah. So, it's overcast, it's cloudy. We go out there to the site. We're real close to where we baited, and I look up, and the sky is just clear over top of his field. And as I look up, I was like, "What the hell is that?" And Eric's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Look!" And I'm pointing up to the sky, and Eric looks up and he goes, "What is it?" And I'm like, "It's a UFO." It was just a solid, bright white light right above us, and it just started moving. When we saw it, Scott pointed the camera up, was able to get it on camera, and this light just moved, and it was moving quicker than a plane. It was heading directly towards a plane, and then made a 45 and disappeared. Just totally disappeared.
And we caught it all on video. It's all there. It's all there.
And I mean, it was what, maybe 10 to 20 seconds tops.
And Ellen was saying it was going away from us really fast, which it was. It was going really fast. And the other thing is, it wasn't a plane, because you saw the other planes. You could see the planes blinking. This was
just a solid light.
Solid light. So that was the first thing. Then the second thing was, all of a sudden we hear in the distance a howl.
Yeah. A howl or a scream.
A scream or a howl. It was very light in the distance.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
about 1,500 yards, maybe a little bit further away.
Then we hear a second one. And we hear the second howl, and it's getting closer. And all of a sudden, Dominic goes to Ellen, because Ellen, you were kind of like you were still looking at the UFO, trying to wrap your head around that.
Yeah.
And Dominic says, "Are you hearing this?" And you're like, "Yeah, it's coming from over there," which we later found out coming from the wetlands area.
Yep.
So,
which was only about 300 yards away.
That was only about 300 yards. Now we have lavalier, very very small lavalier microphones, as close, because we close mic'd ourselves because we didn't want to get the extraneous sound. Well, those mics caught the third howl, which was a scream. It was like a man screaming in the field.
Yeah.
It was not a wolf. It was not a coyote. It wasn't a fox. It wasn't a screech owl, anything like that. This was a guttural scream that just went for a long time.
Yeah, it sounded like a train. I mean, it sounded like what a train would do.
Yeah.
And it was just loud and long.
Yeah.
Loud, long, and deep.
And that's why we think there might have been more than one, because,
Yep.
I think they were either
I still
communicating
get
with each
chills-
other.
I still get
and-
chills thinking about it.
and us. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
That
was-
scared us. Yeah.
it was really an unnerving sound, and it wasn't a dog either. You'd think it could be a dog, but it wasn't a dog either.
With a dog.
I know it brought that fear factor back into me because when I was younger, I got attacked by 2 Dobermans, and I knew that fear, like when that factor there. When I heard that, I was like, "Whoa!" That was like that feeling again. So, and then suddenly we hear a lot of rustling going on behind us.
Right.
So a lot of people are saying, "Well, why didn't you guys stay out there?"
We had nothing.
Had to be there.
We had nothing to protect ourselves,
Yeah.
and then we're hearing this like rustling sound going on behind us. But we stayed out there for more than we probably should have. We were out there for maybe 30 minutes.
And it was right after that third howl, Eric, you noticed the mist.
So that was the third thing, which was crazy.
Well, wait a minute. Before the mist, that's when I went and did the truck diving.
After that second howl.
The second howl, Lon, you ever want to see anybody do some truck diving? That was Ellen, man. We wanted to just get back in the truck to get out of there.
She dove in the truck and locked the door. She locked her son outside. Scott was still filming, and he's like, "Mom."
And then I kept thinking, well, heck, it's going to get me.
It was scary. I mean, it was.
Oh yeah.
It was
So I
scary.
said, okay.
I mean, we make light of it now, but at the time, it was like, "What the hell's that?"
And Scott, God bless him, because he filmed the entire time and didn't flinch. I'm like, that's a cameraman. But I mean,
he's our guy, man. He's our man.
Yeah, and where we were, I kept saying, film over towards where we heard that scream, that howl. And I kept telling him, film over there. We were shining our lights over that way, and we caught eye shine.
So that's the other thing, Lon. We got eye shine about this thing's supposed to be about 6-7 feet when it's down.
Yeah.
We got the eye shine about 6 or 7 feet up in the tree line, and these
in the cornfield.
And these eyes were darting back and forth in the tree line.
Yep.
And it wasn't. You could see a light over at the end. It was a farmer's light way out off in the field. That wasn't it. This is a whole nother set of lights or eyes that were like they were just dark
right there.
And this is something
the mist came. Yeah.
And then this is the other thing. These internally generated light eyes. This is what's been also talked about.
They're amazing.
Lee saw it, and Ellen, you have a biology degree.
Yep.
And that's the tapetum lucidum, right? The
tapetum lucidum. Yeah.
And
they're only reflective when you put a light on it, and then if you don't shine the light on it, you don't see it. So, and that's with most mammals. And these are just internally generated, and it's just amazing how they just stay that way.
Well, let me ask you this: if that is the case, now, do you know of any? Since you've got this degree, do you are familiar with it? Do you know of any animal that is able to generate lights from their eyes?
No.
Okay.
No.
See, this is something that we get with a lot of cryptids.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of course, Bigfoot and the Mothman and that, and
Jersey Devil, even.
Yeah. I mean, in your opinion, is it supernatural?
I'm going to say that it's some type of supernatural phenomenon, because there's no way you can internally generate a fully glowing set of eyes constantly. Yeah. There's just no way, unless you had some type of supernatural phenomena, that it was either some type of supernatural being or some type of being that was, fully electric, had some type of thing going on. And it was weird, because they were dancing, but you could see them, and they didn't change colors, or they didn't change focus.
Yeah, and it was definitely, it was like two, and they danced together, so
Mhm.
they weren't separate, they were together, and
Mhm.
you know, they were so far apart, and that was it, and
We
it
were
was eyes.
and we were talking about there's probably a whole pack. There's a whole clan.
Yeah,
Oh, sure.
with how many we heard, definitely.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we heard the howls, and they were on the other side of the field, and behind us, it was like they were calling to them to come towards us, because behind us, all the rustling in the cornfield, we heard. And I said to you, Eric, I'm like, we got to go. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
this is we're like in the middle of the trap,
We
of
were-
their trap.
And
We
it
had, we
just,
had, yeah, well, go ahead.
I was going to say, it was just grass too in October.
Yeah.
We didn't have any frost or anything, so we would not have heard that animal coming until it was right on top of us.
Yeah, in the field, yeah.
That's what scared us, I think, the most, is that we didn't know if we were being surrounded by one,
Right.
three or four, and so
It
you know.
was, and I mean, that's why we didn't really break up either, because it was like we had to kind of stay together just to kind of watch our backs, you know. 'cause
Yeah.
And even Scott was hearing all this rustling sound going
Oh
on.
yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. After saying that, did you see any evidence of predation?
You know, I don't know if that was the case, but it felt like it. It felt like we were being stalked.
Well,
yeah,
I
we
mean,
were.
did you see any dead animals or any remains of animals that may have been attacked by this thing or devoured
Well,
by this thing?
that's the strange thing with Lee. He put out 17,
Yeah,
18, 17
Until-
roadkill deer.
And I know about that.
Yeah,
and,
and they just disappeared.
yeah,
and
I
only
mean-
one was left behind. Remained.
did he show you the video of the one that he set out there and recorded where
It was moved.
it was moved by
Yeah.
in this cloud formed above it,
yeah,
and
Yeah.
it basically moved.
Yeah.
Yeah. He showed us that video. It was
Okay.
moved into the crotch of the tree,
Right.
and it was there. And the way it was like surgically cut, I mean,
Mhm.
it was missing the shoulder area, and it was just
Right.
cut clean off.
Let me
But-
tell you this.
And
though.
it wasn't. There was nothing left of that shoulder. It was just gone.
He
But
just
the animal was still there.
Yeah, he just showed me a picture of another deer he just got. Literally was gone within a couple of days.
Yeah.
In
And it's not. And it's not drug away. It's picked up and carried away, because
Right.
none of the grass, none of the other stuff has been touched.
Right.
It just literally is just picked up, moved, and gone.
Let me ask you this. Now I'm gonna do some comparison and see what you guys have to say about what you witnessed out there. Now here in Pennsylvania, most of the sightings of the upright canines, the bipedals, are huge. I mean, 8 to 10 foot, very dark in color, very sculptured body,
Mhm.
the thin waist, the muscular arms. They did have the bent legs, just like a
Mhm.
dog's, the canine legs.
Right.
But they have the yellow eyes. Now they stand their ground, and we've had people walk up onto these things, even armed people who were kind of put off by it because of some, I don't know if it was infrasound or whatever it was, but it was something they sensed that they need to stay away from and back away.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was you're exactly right, man.
Right.
Now, let me just say this though. Now we didn't see a form. We only heard it. I wish we would have seen it. Now
We saw the eyes.
we saw the eyes. Now we're going back in April. We've got some tricks up our sleeve to hopefully maybe even capture this thing. So, but here's the thing: what you just said about it not wanting us to be there.
Yeah.
That's what we felt, and that's why. And there were other groups there that Lee had said, "Oh, we were told to leave.
Yeah.
Yep.
We were told to leave," and that was, to me, that howl. That what we encountered was us being told to get that, you
Yep.
know, and
Yeah.
I mean and then the yellow eyes. So that whole thing was to say, look, you got to go. We got to get out of there.
Yeah, we hear that all the time. Now I got one anecdote I just want to tell you, and I want your opinion of it. Now, when we first started looking into this phenomenon here in Pennsylvania, about 2014, I talked to a witness who lived up in Clearfield County, Pennsylvania, and there's a pretty good sized elk population up there. But the game commission people, they do tag them. They put collars on them, radio collars and such. Well, he said he was at a gas station, and he said one of these game commission officers with the pickup truck pulled up, and he had a young elk in the back of a dead one in the back of the truck. And he said this thing had a slit in its throat, like something took a knife and slit the throat. And he said, he asked the game commission guy about it. And he said, well, if you think that's weird, look at this. And he took the collar. He found the collar later. The collar, and you know how thick those things are with the strapping and everything. It looked like somebody took a very sharp knife and just cut it.
Wow.
Claws. Yeah.
Yep.
So it has to be claws, because they're just, it's amazing. They're razor sharp.
Lee, one of the things about what happened with Lee is he put a raccoon out there in the tall grass, and I think the next day came back and he had the thing was slit open and all the innards were taken out.
Surgically.
None of the tall grass was moved. It was like nothing, like something went in, picked it up, and put it out like that.
Yeah.
And there was no way a bird, hawk could get in there, because we were talking about that too.
Yeah.
Because they want, like birds, they want fresh. They want fresh. They don't want anything that's already dead. But something went in there, cut this thing open. So
yeah, I mean, we have turkey vultures here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
and the turkey vultures, you know, they're huge, and they're lumbersome, and I mean they're clumsy birds. They're just big and awkward, and they're just gonna flatten out a whole area.
Yeah, they're gonna spread it all over the place.
This was not.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, you know, Wisconsin has a lot of cryptid sightings, not necessarily the Dogman, you know, Bigfoot and humanoids and the whole 9 yards. And I have had reports in and around Elkhorn of different stuff. Did you guys get any evidence of anything other than the canine? Did you get any evidence of something questionable other than that would have been something that definitely wasn't a canine?
Just the UFO sighting.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
and I mean, Lee has pictures of things in the air. I mean, I don't want to give away too much,
but
there's
other stuff. He's got like he's got pictures of UFOs. He's got so there's definitely more than just the Dogman out there.
Yep.
Well, do you think there's a connection between the Dogman and the UFOs?
I personally do.
Yeah.
And Bigfoot.
I mean, if my patch says it,
you know,
a lot of,
and
a lot of people and a lot of researchers, I mean, they're on the fence with that. They're not going to say that, oh, there's not a Bigfoot coming out of a UFO.
Right.
But the more evidence we see of this otherworldly type stuff going on, it really begs the question: could this also have a connection? Could there be that connection?
Well, I have talked to Linda Godfrey for years about this, and I have interviewed her early on, and her opinion kind of changed as years went by too.
Yep.
She kind of stayed away from the interdimensional, supernatural aspect of these beings, and now she was actually, just the past few years, she kind of got a little on the fence, like you said. Now she believes, from what I had talked to her the last time, it's been a couple of years. What do you believe these are? And I get this, I don't know. And I think a lot of researchers and investigators are starting to become more open-minded about these phenomena, because look, we haven't found bodies. We're not finding a lot of physical evidence. Something's going on to where there's got to be another explanation than a flesh and blood being.
Well, I mean, just to give you an idea, and it's in our video, Lee showed us a picture, which is it was mind-blowing, of these orbs in the middle of the day, daylight. And in those orbs, it looked like this creature in the orb that was floating down. Here's the other idea. Could this thing that we saw that night, the orb, could that have deposited something down to us that night? I mean,
Sure.
I mean, we're getting really out there.
To tell us to go away. Yeah.
Now, and real quick, then Ellen, you had a dream. Now,
Yeah.
this is another thing. I want us to talk about this for a couple of minutes, only because Lee also had dreams of this creature, of what it looked like, what it could be. And there's a really interesting connection. Why don't you tell that story, Ellen, just real quick, if you can?
Well, it was very strange because it was so real that after I had the dream, I sat up in bed and I thought, what the heck did I just dream? Because we were out there in the field. This was, it took place like right before I did my truck diving. Okay. So we were all standing there flashing our lights. And then it seemed like time stood still. This thing was in front of us. It was about a 7 foot. And I gave Eric a drawing of what I thought I saw in my dream. And it told me telepathically, it said, hold out your hand. And so I did. I held out my hand and it touched me with a claw. And telepathically, it said, this is what I'm telling you. This is what is happening here. And this is why we're here. And what it said is that all of their females of their species were dying. And they were there to procure more females to propagate their species. Whether it was, I don't know if it was animal species. I don't know if it was human. It didn't say, it didn't delineate. But it said, we're here. And it said, you come back and see us and we'll talk to you again. That's when we said, and that's when I told Eric, I said, we've got to go back in April.
Yeah.
I've been told we have to go back.
Now,
And, not to interrupt, Eric, but that makes a lot of sense. When we heard the howls and I went back to you, you were kind of just there.
Yeah.
And I said to Eric, and I said, did you hear that? Did you hear that? And you were just kind of, yeah, I heard it. You almost looked like you were in a catatonic state.
Yeah. And I was looking away from you guys.
Yeah.
I swear that moment turned into my dream a week later.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to look back at that. I'm going to look
actually came up to me and said, this is what we're trying to do. You know, you can't catch us. You can't, you can't trap us, but this is what we're doing. And we are going to get it done, but we want you to come back and visit us. And that's when we started talking about that.
Now, Lon, I saw that you kind of were nodding your head. Have you heard something similar to that?
Yeah. Now, we've been investigating this phenomenon around Chicago now with the winged humanoids. Now, in the past 2 years, a lot of this has been happening around O'Hara, and there's indication that there's one specific area around O'Hara where a lot of this is going on. And these beings, and I know it sounds really out there, have been communicating with a few of our team.
Yeah.
Telepathically.
Yeah.
And they did have one of our team members put their hand out, and they did touch them like that.
Yeah.
When they put their hand out. I'm wondering, and I tell you, we have been told that a lot of the cryptids that are seen by people on our Earth plane come from the same linear dimension that they're from.
Wow.
Now, when Ellen said that, I'm thinking, maybe this is connected somehow. I don't know, but it was interesting she said it, because that seems to be the case with what we're dealing with now.
Yeah.
We're getting some really strange communications with these, what they call themselves, the unseen ones. So I don't know. I mean, it's food for thought, but
I don't doubt it. I mean, I always say that there are people that are connected to that veil. There's a very thin veil there, and there are people that are connected to it. Like Dominic is a spirit medium. He's connected to that realm. Ellen could also be connected to that realm.
I think that's true. I think cryptids in general pick who can see them.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. I do believe that.
To wrap up the story, so the next night, or actually that night, Lon, this was crazy too. The whole town of Elkhorn lost power.
Yeah.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. We got back to the hotel and we did a wrap up in the conference room, and then we went upstairs.
Yeah.
And about, what was it, about 11:30?
Yeah, about
12 o'clock.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the power went out in the hotel.
Yeah.
So Ellen had to take Scott to the airport, and they had to. The elevators weren't working, so they had to go down the stairs in the dark.
Morning, yeah.
3 o'clock in the morning, and we got up the next morning. We go down for breakfast, Eric and I, and the lights in the hotel are all flickering on and off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is going on? And the guy said, oh, because we lost power, and the lights, the switches went bad. He's like, the whole town lost power. And it was a bad storm that came rolling through. And I went in, when I went to Eric had a piece of stick that was caught in his shoe.
I know.
On his shoelaces. And I'm like, you brought it back with you. It's all your fault.
So I went, and then to wrap this up. So after that, we're on the plane. We're heading back to Pennsylvania. And Lee sends me a text and says, oh, by the way, the trail cams that we had out there that night, you guys were there, they stopped working at 5 o'clock. It's like something came and turned it off. There was no pictures of you guys out there, nothing for that whole night until the next morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, it was working again. And the bones were gone.
Yeah.
Yep. By the way, the bones were gone.
Totally gone. So that was very, very strange.
Very strange.
It was very weird. Very, very weird.
Wow.
So we're going back in April 28th through May 1st. We're doing a town hall at the Matheson Memorial Library
On the 28th.
On the 28th of April. The 29th, we're going to do some more witness testimony and go to that steakhouse again.
Yep.
And then 30th, we're going to speak at the Beast of Bray Road conference that Donna's putting together. And then May 1st is when we're going to do the investigation again. And we don't want to divulge what we're going to do this time, but it's going to be a lot more than what we did before.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're going to stay out there a little longer. Hopefully.
Wow.
Tie
a rope around me so I don't do any more trying.
I got to tell you, Lon, a really great friend of ours who's also on the team. His name's Timothy Wayne Williams. You may want to talk with him too. He's a great artist. He did the artwork for the Beast of Bray Road and I used it as transition art in the video. Phenomenal guy and just does incredible work. So he's involved, and we were getting a lot of people involved in this. I mean, Ellen made this possible, and we've got a lot of people that have followed me from my jazz world into the paranormal world because it's fascinating. I mean, these stories are fascinating.
They are.
You guys are going to have to keep me updated on this because I may be out there around that time.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Okay.
And if I can swing it, I may try to meet up with you at some point.
Yeah, come to the.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking of some things, but I might. Yeah, that's a good time of the year too.
Oh yeah, because I don't think it's going to be that cold at that point. It's like
it should be pretty good. Late April.
Yep, and we hope we do have some snow because that's better for
footprints.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're.
And then I know we have a couple more minutes, but I wanted to just
go ahead.
I wanted to just talk to you real quick about the Bigfoot investigation we did in the New Jersey Pine Barrens, and this might be a segue for another show. Dominic and I. This was a week later. This was a week after we got
1 week later.
1 week exactly from Elkhorn. We met up with Eric Spinner, another guy that you should talk to, great researcher, and Art Mack, Bigfoot researchers in New Jersey. They took us down to an area called the Bowl, and it's about 5 miles into the Pine Barrens. Okay, you're
Mhm.
familiar with it. Okay, so the bowl, meaning that you're kind of in this area where you're down below, where these things could get, a view of what you're doing.
Mhm.
So we get in there. We're what, 5 miles in, and
Yeah.
oh my god! So we get in there. Thank God we had Dominic's truck that night. Thank you, Dom. And we got in there, and then we went about 5 miles in. Not a soul around. Nobody around. And we go went about 600 yards into the woods, and oh my god, we no sooner got there. We set up base camp. Dominic's talking to Art, and we all heard that whoop that everybody hears, that Bigfoot. And personally, I always see those shows, and I'm thinking to myself, is that really what it's sounding like?
Yeah.
And I'll be damned if that's not what we heard. It was just unbelievable. So then his wife, Eric's wife, starts answering it back, and it starts talking back with her.
Yeah.
And it was like not once, but like 4 or 5 times. It was just
Yeah.
So that was one, and then we heard a whole bunch of howls. But the odd thing was, the night of October 2nd, Eric was in Gettysburg. He's out near you.
Mhm.
He got the same similar, but at further distance, howl similar to what we got.
Oh yeah, well, we got Bigfoot around here.
So
yeah, we've had people report them on the battlefield before. So they're around here. Interesting, huh?
So that was amazing.
That the Pine Barrens is and talking about Bigfoot activity. I've had a lot of crazy Bigfoot activity reported there.
Yep.
And the place just freaks me out anyway, because I go in there and I get this crazy feeling every time I go in there.
Yeah.
But absolutely strange.
You know what, Lon? Dominic felt safer in the Pine Barrens than he did in Wisconsin.
Yeah, I did.
Well, the quarry, I believe, would probably make it feel safer, maybe.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, folks, tell us how people can get a hold of you, and where you're going to be, and let us know how folks can contact.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they could go right on Facebook, Bucks County Paranormal Investigations on Facebook. We have a lot of great videos there. They can send us messages. We also have a YouTube page, Bucks County Paranormal Investigations. Working on a website to get that up and running, so we can get some stories from people on a lot of the cryptid encounters, UFOs, anything that people have encountered. We want to hear your story. And our videos are basically, we're turning this into, paranormal tourism. We're showing people what's out there in their own backyard that they have no idea. And the rich history of a lot of these great places that we're exploring and telling stories and then encountering these incredible things. So it's really been fascinating. And we got a great team here. We also work with Dom, and we also work with another spirit medium, Karen Hluchan. She's been working with us, and Ellen. We've got some great sponsors, Shanghai Jazz, Will Nicholson, a local restaurant, McCool's Restaurant up in our area up here in Quakertown. So these are people that are really, really fascinated by these stories, and we like to tell them. And thankfully, we've got a lot of people that have followed us and love hearing the stories as well. And the way we're presenting it too is very energetic and family friendly, and it's pretty cool.
Yep. And we're going to be back out in Wisconsin the end of April, and then also we're looking to try to get back into Hluchan.
Yeah, we're going to be back at Hluchan. Oh, that's right, Lon. We're going to be out sort of your neck of the woods in August 13th. Is Hluchan back at Haunted Hillview Manor
in Pittsburgh.
Newcastle. Yep, in Newcastle. And Dominic and I will be speaking there, and so it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're trying to get into more and more of the conventions, cryptid conventions, and all kinds of different things, because this story, what we encountered in Elkhorn, has to be told.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, you folks ever get out my way, Adams, York County, that area, even Maryland, let me know.
Absolutely.
I was actually out last year. We went out to Gettysburg, and I was on the battlefields, and just being that I'm a medium, the noise, I mean, it's just so intense. And
I've got stories to tell you.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were out there, we went camping, and we hiked the battlefields, and phenomenal, just phenomenal out in Gettysburg.
Well, folks, thanks for coming on this evening, and you have a nice weekend, and keep in touch.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks a
Take
lot.
care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Now, if you have an unexplained encounter or sighting, feel free to contact me through the Phantoms and Monsters blog site. I want to again thank Eric Mintel and his team for joining me this evening. And I want to thank each and all of you for watching and chatting. If you made a super chat donation, it's truly appreciated. Your support is what makes this possible. Please like, subscribe, and share. Now, next week, my friend and colleague Timothy Renner will join me. We'll be discussing strange and unusual phenomena located where I am, South Central Pennsylvania, including witchcraft, folk magic, Bigfoot, winged humanoids, and other cryptid activity in the area. So be sure to join this fascinating show. And I also want to note that our January 28th show will be a tribute to our friend and associate Butch Witkowski, who suddenly departed from us yesterday. So mark that, and that should be an interesting show. So until next week, stay healthy, have a safe, enjoyable weekend. Good night.